In the area where I live, there are some people who want to stop educating girls through guns.
In Swat, Pakistan, schools for girls are under assault by the Taliban.
I want to get my education and I want to become a doctor.
It's okay. Okay, easy, relax.
This is the Swat Valley, once a peaceful region that wooed tourists from all over Pakistan. Swat is part of mainland Pakistan, only 100 miles from the capital Islamabad. Since 2007, Swat has become Taliban territory. Those who defy the militant strict codes of Islam are publicly punished. And they are the lucky ones. Politicians and social activists are murdered, their corpses displayed in the center of the capital, Mingora. It is early January here. While boys' schools remain open, more than 200 schools for girls have been blown up by the Taliban.
Respectable principal.
At one of the remaining schools, a student who is veiled to protect her identity speaks out.
The title of my speech is The Situation in Swat, Swat Valley. The paradise on earth is in the northwest of Pakistan. Swat Valley, the land of waterfalls, lush green hills and other gifts bestowed upon it by the nature. But my dear friends, today, Swat has in the past few years become a heartland for Pakistan's Islamic militancy. Today, this idyllic valley of peace is burning. Why the peace of this valley is destroyed? Why we the peace and innocent people of the valley are targeted? Why our future is targeted? Schools are not places of learning, but places of fear and violence. We will solve our problems. We will return our valley to peace. I think nobody, no one, our dreams are shattered, and let me say we are destroyed.
About a quarter of the residents have left Swat, leaving behind a ghost town. VIP tourists once lobbied for reservations at this elite hotel and restaurant. Now it is empty. China Market once bustled with female shoppers. Now they are banned by the Taliban. And vendors are afraid to speak out. In Swat, only one business still thrives. Citizens are voracious for news. But news here can be devastating. Come nighttime, the Taliban issue threats on FM radio. It is January 14th, the night before the ban. Tomorrow, 50,000 schoolgirls will lose their education. Tensions are especially high in this house. We spent 48 hours documenting this family's crisis.
Tomorrow is the deadline, in 15 January. We won't be able to take any risk.
Zahuddin Yousafzai owns a private school for girls. It has supported his family for 14 years. Tomorrow he will be forced to close its doors. His 11-year-old daughter, Malala, faces the end of her education.
When I saw her for the first time, a very newborn child, and I looked into her eyes, I fell in love with her, believe me. I love her. I love her.
The family doesn't know what they will do come tomorrow, but one thing has been decided. They won't leave Swat.
I may get brain hemorrhage because of that pressure. That's why I left my people in hard days. I should have been beside them. I must bring them out from that quagmire. This is my duty. And if I die for it, I think there will be no better chance for me to die better than this.
On the last school night, Zahuddin hopes the Taliban will change their mind against closing the girls' schools.
It's not catching today.
Tonight, the Pakistani military has blocked the Taliban's transmission. But on the ground, there is little doubt who is in control. There are 12,000 Pakistani troops in Swat. They are ever present in the capital Mingora, where they are targeting Taliban cells like this one. But since last summer, they have been unable to quell the 3,000 Taliban fighters and their guerrilla insurgency. Zahuddin has taken in his extended family. They are afraid to live in the countryside. The military offered to guard Zahuddin's school, but with hundreds of schools already destroyed, he cannot take the risk. Like many in Swat, he feels trapped, unable to trust either side.
If on one hand security forces want to open the schools on gunpoint, and on the other hand the militant Taliban, they are going to close it on the gunpoint. So education is something it can't afford such a tight security situation.
Inside their home, the family lives under siege. Zahuddin is on the Taliban's radar, so some nights he sleeps elsewhere to avoid drawing attention to his family.
See?
And Malala often doesn't sleep at all.
Have sound sleep, huh? Right?
Good night.
Good night.
Sometimes I think that I will hide in the bathroom and I will call to police and they will come and they will save my father. And sometimes I think that I will tell my father that you hide in the cupboard and they will not check the cupboard. And I have many thoughts.
Okay, like that. And when I'm not at night at your home, then what happens?
We are feeling that we are in a war zone. We hear a big blast and we just sit in our beds and then we sleep again. And so this hide and seek goes on all the night. And that's our life. That's our life.
I'm very fearing today is my last day of school.
Fear seeps into every aspect of life, even getting dressed for school.
We are not using this uniform now and we go to school in plain clothes and I like my uniform but I'm not able to use this uniform.
In the morning, Zahuddin's anxiety is rising. At times, he asks us to conceal our camera. He is worried about who might be watching.
We have some limitations.
Zahuddin is known around town as a social activist, and although he has not received direct threats, other activists have been murdered. To avoid suspicion, Malala goes to school alone.
Okay.
Bye. Bye. In the world, the girls are going to their schools freely and there is no fear. But in Swat, when we go to our school, we are very afraid of Taliban. He will kill us, he will throw acid on our face and he can do anything.
In some respects, Malala and her classmates have already lost their school. 70% of the students stayed at home.
Sum of numbers में हमने 280 plus
One of our students, she came late to school. And when I asked her, why are you late, daughter? She told me that her parents and her brothers were not allowing her to go to school because they don't want to take risk. So she told me that when her brother and her father went out of the home, she stealthily came to school.
Sum of items divide by.
Tomorrow, 13 teachers will lose their job. One called Zahuddin to say he cannot make it.
So he told me that while passing through the square on my way to school, I saw some beheaded corpse. So now I am unable to teach to my student.
As the school day winds down, Zahuddin faces the end of his career. 2/3 of the parents have not paid last month's tuition.
This very thought is very much killing, you see. Your efforts of 14 years, when they come to zero. And we started from a scratch.
Swat Valley! Zindabad! Swat Valley! Zindabad! Swat
At a special assembly, the students rally for their education.
Swat Valley! Zindabad!
Even in the confines of his office, Zahuddin cannot escape the tension.
You see in the background the noise of the gunships and helicopters. So it's apparent that it affects our cells, especially the smokeways.
Most of these girls say their families will soon leave Swat. But Zahuddin has a different take. He has vowed to spend a year fighting for his cause.
It may be my idealism, or you may call me a crazy person. But when I'm asked by my friends that why are you not leaving Swat? So I usually tell them that Swat has given me a lot. Now when there are hard days on Swat, and Swat is in trouble. So as a good friend, I should not leave Swat.
But staying in Swat could destroy Malala's dream.
I want to become a doctor. It's my own dream, but my father told me that you have to become a politician. But I don't like politics and...
But I see a great potential in my daughter that she can do more than a doctor. She can create a society where a medical student would be easily able to get her doctorate degree.
Bye, class!
Back at her home, Malala's social life is now confined to a courtyard. Her bedroom is a classroom, but she remains hopeful.
They cannot stop me. I will get my education if it is in home, school or any place. This is our request to the all world that save our school, save our world, save our Pakistan, save our Swat.
While Malala studies at home, the Taliban strengthen its grip on her city through public humiliation and violence. In May, the Pakistani military begins an offensive against the Taliban.
We had to leave the town of Mengawara because we had to save our lives.
Suddenly there was a huge firing and missiles, so we quickly get our clothes and we put it in our bags, and I was weeping that why we have to leave Swat, we are innocent, what is our sin?
I hugged her that don't worry Malala, we will be back to our homes and you should be courageous.
Our father told us that this operation will be finished in just 2-3 days. After 2-3 days, he told us that it will be finished in 1 week.
My advice was not working because literally she was leaving her home.
Within 3 hours, the family and more than 1 million others from Swat are forced to flee for their lives.
Just to save their lives, people left each and everything and they rushed out of this city. It was just anarchy And there was no discipline, no administration, nothing was there. Everybody was fleeing away.
With no place to live and no way to support his family,
Enough, thanks.
Zawuddin sends his wife and children to live with relatives. He goes to Peshawar to fight for Swat.
Thank you.
Peshawar is the regional capital and the front line of Pakistan's war against the Taliban. The militants and the military share an uneasy coexistence here. And it's here that Zawuddin settles into a room with 3 other exiles, 3 hours from their homes in Swat. All of the men are separated from their families. Ahmad owned a girls' school in Mingora. Farouk worked at a girls' school. Fazli Maula, also from Swat, is hosting them.
Sometimes we get bored of each other, and everybody wishes to meet his wife and his kids.
6.
This is my aunt's home, and we are living here now.
6 hours away, Malala is also living in exile.
Yeah, I'm really bored because I have no books to read. I want to go to my Swat.
Malala's been hopping around the country living with relatives, 4 cities in 2 months. With her brothers Kushal and Atul, and their mother, who can't be filmed due to cultural restrictions. They all miss Zawuddin.
I love him, we all love him, so we really missed him, his talks. I don't know, but we missed him.
पाकिस्तान का मतलब क्या? पाकिस्तान का मतलब क्या? बम धमाके और अफवाह, खामोशी भी गद्दारी है.
In Swat, these men were the leaders of their community. Now in Peshawar, they organize protests and hold press conferences, trying to pressure the government to take Swat back from the Taliban.
As we say that a mother doesn't give milk to a child when it doesn't cry. So if you don't cry, you will not have anything, especially in the third world countries like us. You have to scream for everything.
Despite their uncertain situation, they have it much better than the million Swat refugees living in miserable conditions in the camps.
Really, sometimes we feel guilty that why we are here in a comparatively comfortable room. We should have been there.
There are reports that the Taliban are using the camps as hideouts and are receiving aid like everyone else. If the refugees return to Swat, the Taliban could return with them. But the date of that return is far from certain.
We just listen news and watching TVs for the sake of news. What is the date of our returning to our homes?
We are missing life.
We are missing life. We're here.
What Malala misses most is her lost education.
I really miss that room in which I have left my bag. I think that when I will go to Swat, so first I will go to that room and I will see my bag, and then I will go to my school, but first I have to see that room.
Her brothers yearn for their pet chickens, which they had to leave behind.
So the only thing which is missed by my kids, they miss their 2 small chickens, that whether they will be alive or they might have died.
Zawuddin worries about the fate of his home and school. They're located next to an army base, and he thinks they might have been bombed.
That whether it has been hit or not, whether the belongings which we left there, they are safe or not, we don't know. For the last 2 months, we don't know anything about our home.
Security in Swat is precarious. When the military came in, the Taliban went out to the countryside. Police have arrested some foreign terrorists. like these men who tried to carry out an attack dressed as women. But most of the 21 SWAT Taliban commanders are still alive, including Maulana Fazlullah, who issues death threats on FM radio.
अभी बिल्कुल सही सलामत हूँ और कोई भी हमला मेरे ऊपर नहीं हुआ है ना और जिहाद की इस अजीम फरीज़ा में हुकूमती प्रोपेगेंडे पर यकीन न करें.
The military claims its offensives are working. And citizens like Zawdin, who are desperate to return home, cling to the good news.
Ultimately, we will be the winner. And the miscreants, the militants, they will be the losers. I'm hopeful, I'm optimistic.
He's too much optimistic, so I don't agree with him because the leaders, the commanders of Taliban are still alive.
The chief minister of the region hosts a meeting with SWAT leaders. They're demanding to know when their valley will be safe enough to return to. Most of these men are feudal landlords who've received death threats, and so has Zawdin. Back in May, he criticized the militants at a press conference, and a Taliban commander called for his life on the radio. Zawdin is so obsessed with the restoration of SWAT that at times he forgets about his other job, being a father.
Today is my birthday and he don't know, and I have told him yesterday that today is my birthday, so...
Her message is in English. They brought a birthday cake for me. My birthday has been celebrated. Now I'm happy from them, but not from you.
But Malala cannot resist her father's influence. She no longer dreams of becoming a doctor.
I have a new dream. So I thought that I must be a politician to save this country.
Why did you change this dream?
Because there are so many crises in our country, so I want to remove these crises and to save my country.
By early July, the crisis seems unbearable. Camps are filled to capacity. Taliban commanders are still alive. Finally, the Prime Minister makes a long-awaited announcement.
The gas has been restored, and even the banks, they are being restored. जो internally displaced persons हैं, उनकी नवीद देना चाह रहा हूँ कि वो 13 तारीख से वापस जाना शुरू हो जाए.
We think we will start again our new life because
Tomorrow, Ahmed will return to SWAT. Several days later, Zawdin will follow.
Okay. I dream going to school. I dream that when I will unlock the door of my house, belongings which were there, will they be safe or not? Will the two chickens will be alive or not?
After 3 months of separation and anxiety, the family is finally reunited.
Today is 24th July and we are going to our home peg after 3 months. So it's the very precious day for me.
But there's one more stop before returning home. Zawdin and Malala, with other grassroots activists, are invited to meet Richard Holbrooke.
Are you from Mingora?
President Obama's top official in the region.
How old are you?
I'm 12 years.
12 years old.
Yeah. I will request you all, and respected ambassador, I will request you that if you can help us in our education, so please help us.
We've pledged well over $1 billion for economic aid. We're working with your government on the electrical problem. But your country faces a lot of problems, as you all know.
The military is still conducting operations in the countryside, and Taliban commanders remain on the loose. But Zawdin talks as if the war is over.
This is the day of conquer. We, the peaceful people of Swat, we have won the battle with a sense of victory.
I'm thinking about that, is our home safe or not? There is a fear in my heart that the Taliban can recollect their power.
But Swat doesn't look like home. The Taliban displayed the bodies of its enemies in the streets. Now the military is accused of doing the same. Taliban corpses rot in the sun.
You are right now in a car going into a city where you are a wanted man.
I have a staunch belief that death has a certain time. When it comes, it comes. You can't avoid it. Death cannot be a hindrance in my struggle.
When the family reaches the valley, they're overwhelmed.
After 3 months, we are looking at the river of Swat.
Some of the houses are blasted and they are shooted by the army because there were Taliban in that houses.
The city is vacant. I can't imagine it. How is it? We never saw this city like this. Never at midnight, never at midnight even. This is without human beings, with no life. Really, we don't know what is there inside our home because we have heard that the majority of the homes have been looted by the looters. Oh my God. Come on.
It's like a jungle.
It's like jungle.
Oh.
But it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
The kids rush to check on their pet chickens.
Are they there?
Our chicks are died.
Very sorry, very sorry. Malala? Malala? Malala?
After she collects herself, Malala checks on her schoolwork.
These are my notebooks. Everything is safe.
So the chickens died, but you got your books.
Yeah. I think the books are more precious.
But it's too soon to celebrate. The fate of the school, which has supported the family for 14 years, remains unknown. The key doesn't work. Zawuddin is becoming increasingly anxious.
Okay.
The child is climbing up and he will go down to the building and he will reopen it. Let's go into. Oh, so I think the people lived here. I don't know who lived here, but the people who lived here are very dirty. This is another room.
It's unclear who infiltrated the school.
Oof.
Was it the Taliban or was it the military?
The print of a very big shoe.
It doesn't really matter. For the past year, Zawuddin has felt trapped between both sides.
On its right side, please, Malala. This is the... Oh, please. What happened? Oh my God, what's this? What are they?
I don't know.
They are the heads of some goats. I think they are the bones of the head of a goat or sheep. It has been broken. The wall has been broken to the other house.
Someone knocks at the door. Zawuddin becomes nervous.
No one should enter, okay? Don't open it. Don't open it.
Malala searches for clues to the identities of the intruders. Then she finds the answer.
And they have written something in the diary of my friend. This is written that I am proud to be a Pakistani and a soldier of Pakistan Army. SULGER. He don't know the spelling of soldier.
They have written so many poetry. Some love one, some love two. I love one, that is you. And my friend is the age of me. She don't know what is love. So I was very proud of my army, that the army protect us. But when I see my school in this way, so I'm very shameful of my army.
Saudin finds a letter from the army. It blames citizens like him for allowing the Taliban to control Swat.
We have lost so much dear and precious lives of our soldiers. And this all is due to your negligence. Long live Pak Army, long live Pakistan.
This is the math class, and now this is not a class, this is a bunker of army. There is welcome to Pakistan. And this is Pakistan. Taliban destroyed us.
I think we should not put out the camera, okay? Because still the army is very alert.
It's been 6 months since Saudin and Malala lost their school. Its rooftop still offers a front row seat to a war with no end in sight.